10 simple habits even your grandmother could do. I'm going to share with you my 10 habits that I have been learning, implementing and teaching others to do in their daily life so that they can feel better in their bodies, that they have more confidence and more connection with others around them. Welcome, my name is Nina. I am a wellbeing coach and I'm here to share with you 10 Ayurvedic based principles, lifestyle practices that you can do. They are free. They're easy to do and they are what I've been doing in my life. So let's get to them. This is why I practice them and this is why I strongly recommend that you start practicing them as well. Now, before we get going into the 10 tips, I have a tip sheet for you. It is in the descriptions below. It's absolutely free. You can grab it and you can paste that up on your kitchen and be reminded of implementing these 10 tips every day. So grab that from the description. Number 1 is having an earlier, lighter dinner or a bigger, better lunch, however you want to see it. But as soon as I shifted from having a late dinner where I then felt bloated, I struggled to fall asleep, I struggled to stay asleep. And when I actually started shifting my dinner time earlier and earlier and earlier and making it lighter as well, I noticed that I started sleeping better. I was able to fall asleep. I was able to stay asleep. And what is happening is that at night, you are then able, at least for me, to digest the experiences and emotions and activities that had happened during the day. Whereas having a bigger, better lunch, so having it at midday when the sun is the highest, when the bile that is created in your liver is at its peak, allows for optimal physical digestion of food that you're eating. In the evening, you want something that is supplementary, a supper, something that is lighter, something that will just tie you through to breakfast. So that is my habit number 1. It is probably the hardest and the most difficult habit to automate, but it is one of those that has such a big impact. So start small and slowly start working towards what that can look like for you. The second one is early to bed. Yes, being in rhythm with nature. So when there is light out there, that you're up and about and you're doing things and you're being active. And when the sun starts setting and it starts getting darker and darker, and when it is dark, that you are actually in bed and getting yourself to sleep. That means you want to be asleep by 10 p.m. You don't want to have that second wind that is going to kick you through and keep you up through to 12 till 2 a.m. and then that you struggle then to again fall asleep, and maybe that you then spend the whole morning sleeping or not having a good full night's rest. So for me, this early to bed, getting yourself into bed early, asleep early, as the day winds down, as it starts getting quieter and quieter, you want to be able to hone in on those nature cues out there to help you sleep a little deeper. Number 3 is starting your day right. Now, there are so many ways that you can start your day right. I'm going to leave you with 3 of my favorite tips that have worked really, really well for me. And the first one is, before I even get out of bed, I'll lie there for a moment and just think of what I'm grateful for, or even better, how someone has expressed deep gratitude towards me and how that's made me feel. And that feeling of warmth, that feeling of being able to have supported someone or nurtured someone or guided someone, and those feelings are what light me up. That means that as I put my feet on the ground, I'm already starting the day on a positive note. The second thing that I like to do, and it works in with the third one, is this idea of hydration. So hydrating with hot water, not coffee, not tea, literally just a mug or 2 of hot water, and that helps me flush out my system. And what happens is, when I flush out my system, it's like I'm saying goodbye to yesterday and everything that happened yesterday, and I'm now starting light and clear and fresh. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to start your day on a positive note so that you can bring that lightness and energy into your day instead of feeling sluggish and feeling like you need to have that cup of coffee to help you get started. No, clear out everything that is old and stagnant and not needed and start your day feeling light and fresh. Number 4, and this is probably a non-negotiable, is move. Move your body, even if it's for 5 minutes. If it's for 10 minutes, great. If you can do longer, if you can do 20 minutes, fantastic. That means you can get out into nature. Walking is fantastic. If you can't do that, maybe it's getting onto your yoga mat or doing qigong or tai chi, or maybe doing a strong workout. Find a person or someone that you can move with first thing in the morning, because you are going to have mornings where you don't want to move. You're just going to feel sluggish and you want to just lie in bed for an extra 5 minutes. But if you have a person or someone that you're accountable to, that can help you. And I know from those that I've been coaching, it's this movement first thing in the morning that if they do it, it sets themselves up for a really, really great day. They've got energy, they've got a little bit more vitality. The days that we don't do it, the days that they don't do it, they realize that they're just kind of like a little sluggish, a little stuck, a little more lethargic, and it just feels like life is overwhelming. Don't think that you're going to do your exercise later in the day. Start, even if it's just 5 minutes this morning, getting going. It doesn't have to be anything technical or specific. You could literally be dancing in your kitchen. Pop on some music and move. Get the prana, get the life force into you so that you can start your day with a little bit more liveliness and activity. And give me a thumbs up if you are moving most mornings. So it'd be really cool to see how many of you are actually doing some form of movement, no matter how short it is, every single morning. Number 5, you've probably heard this a million times, but it is eat your veggies. That means you want to have the rainbow on your plate. That means you want to eat seasonally. And the reason why I absolutely love this is that, and you don't need to do a DNA test. I did one, and I have this gene that doesn't have the satiation. In other words, I don't feel full after I've eaten. I don't like have an off switch. I can eat and eat and eat and eat. And so for me, if I start my meals with 2 cups of veggies, so that might be a really nice big salad or a veggie stew, and I start with that, it actually starts to signal to my body and my brain that I've taken in quite a lot, which means that I don't overeat on the other things, especially the carbs and any of the sugary things. So maybe you have this gene, maybe you don't, it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that more veggies is good for you, and you want to be able to bring that into every meal. So if you're finding that you are maybe having a lot of sugar cravings, if you're finding that you're overeating, maybe all you need to do is eat a few more vegetables and see if that shifts something for you. Number 6 is one of my absolute favorites. It is a traditional Ayurvedic practice. It's called Abhyanga, which is self-massage. Now, skincare, I know for a lot of you women, is key and big one. And I think we've literally been taught since like being young girls that, you know, we need to cleanse and tone and moisturize and put lotion on our skin. And our skin is our biggest organ of absorption. That means whatever goes onto our skin gets absorbed into our system and needs to be digested, transformed, especially by the liver. So if we're taking in toxins, we are overloading our liver. And we all know that in a lot of those lotions and potions are a lot of toxins that our body doesn't actually need. One of my Ayurvedic teachers always said, you know, if you wouldn't put it in your mouth, don't put it on your skin. And so this is where I love this practice of Abhyanga, which is oil massage. And you can do it with oil, you can do it without oil, but generally it is just massaging your skin either before or after your shower with a little bit of oil. And start doing that regularly and just notice how that shifts and changes your skin, your texture, and how you feel. What I love about self-massage is that it's a sense of self-love as well. So if you're just feeling a little under weather, if you're feeling maybe a little sad, a little lonely, giving yourself a nice deep self-massage is just telling yourself, like, my hands, they're amazing, and I can give myself that self-love. And when we start doing that, we start building up a little bit more confidence, we start to feel a little bit more happier with ourselves, and we then bring that energy into our everyday. And then you'll start seeing that being reflected by the people that you come into contact with. So give this a try. It is literally one of my favorite practices. And if you're like, you know, I'm not really sure about this, just start with like 2 minutes of a foot massage before you go to bed. Grab some nice oil, pop that onto the soles of your feet, and just give your feet a good little rub. And I promise you, you'll start sleeping better and you'll start feeling a lot happier with yourself. All right, habit number 7 is meditation, or just sitting in silence. It doesn't have to be a a strong kind of like meditation practice for half an hour where you follow something specific. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And when it comes to meditation or sitting in silence, it's all about going inwards. Now, I have struggled with this for over 20 years. I've been teaching yoga for a long time, and I really could never get to a strong meditation practice. And used to frustrate me because I was like, I'm a yoga teacher. I need to be doing this. I should be doing this. And then I shifted my mindset a little, and I started small, literally with 2 minutes, and started building up that way. And what happens is that when you start building in meditation or a silence practice into your day at a time that works for you, could be first thing in the morning, it could be in the evening, it doesn't matter. But what you want to be doing is making it regular. And what happens is that I notice that I react less in my everyday. So when something happens, especially something negative, I don't go into reaction mode. I can take a moment to pause, to contemplate, and then decide on how I would like to respond, not react. And the other thing is I find that it's just opened up a lot more time and space in my day. So even though I've maybe taken the 10 or the 15 minutes to meditate and not do work, I've actually found that it's created more time for me because I'm a lot more focused, I'm a lot more attentive, and I know exactly what needs to get done that day. So tip number 7, meditation, sitting in silence. It's, again, one of those practices that I really hope and I really strongly suggest that you build into a daily habit for yourself. Doesn't need to be long. It does just need to be regular. And for those of you who are already meditating regularly, let me know in the comments below what your favorite app is or meditation teacher, or if you have a clip that you really enjoy listening to, please pop that in. I love using Insight Timer. I think it's a fantastic app. I use it regularly, and I'll often listen to the same meditation for maybe a week or 2 weeks, and then I'll find something that is more appropriate. Maybe it's full moon, maybe it's new moon, and I want to do a meditation that's more in line with that, and I will do that. So have a look at Insight Timer if you haven't used a meditation app before and you're looking for something. Otherwise, for those of you who are using other meditations, please leave a comment below so that we can all learn from each other. All right, my tip number 8 is intermittent fasting. In Ayurveda, it's a little bit more like meal spacing, digestion. It's really focusing on that digestive fire where we are giving our digestion a break, because we can all admit that we're all eating too much, too frequently, and overwhelming our digestive system. So what we want to focus on is really building out those intermittent fasting hours. That means if you are having your last calorie at 8 p.m. at night, and that you are then having your first calorie at 8 a.m. in the morning, that's like a 12-hour cycle where you haven't taken in any calories. Now, what you want to do is to at least a 14-hour break, because that's when autophagy sets in and your cells are able to start repairing themselves, and this is where you start to improve your health and your well-being on that physical level. So if you're not getting to that 14-hour yet, try and work towards that over the next course of the week, the month, going into the new year. Maybe that's what you want to be looking at. In addition, we want to be looking at meal spacing, so not snacking between meals. One of Ayurvedic's tips is that you want to have full proper meals so that you feel nicely satiated and not actually snack in between meals. It's 2 or 3, maybe 4 if you're high in Vata, meals a day that really are nourishing and nurturing to you. Well done for staying with me. We are on tip number 9, and this is your sense organ self-care practice, where everything we take in is sensory. It's what we see, it's what we hear, it's what we smell, it's what we taste, it's what we feel. And these senses perceive as something as being nice, good, bad, horrible, something that we want more of, something that we want less of. And so what we want to do is allow our senses to have a little bit of downtime, relaxing, especially if it's a busy day. So it might be something of like palming your eyes, cupping your eyes with your hands, or your ears. It might be doing practices like neti pot or nasya. You want to be doing your tongue scraping or your oil pulling. So things where you can really nourish and balance your senses, just to give yourself a sensory break from all the sensory overload that we often take in. And when we do that, it's like washing the dishes, and we can then ensure that we are perceiving the inputs into our system with a lot more clarity and honesty, the way they are meant to be coming into us. Instead of making us react, we are able to pause, understand, and acknowledge those senses that have come in or those senses that have been heightened, and we can then choose the way in which we want to respond. And then finally, yes, we are here. Number 10 is being in flow with life. So life is not always going to be easy. We are going to have challenges. There are things that are going to be happening. But when we can step into the easefulness of life, and I love the saying, it's like the universe is conspiring with you. The universe isn't conspiring against you. And so even when things are happening, if we see, this is for my greater good, this is for a purpose, this is for a reason, what is the lesson I can learn? How can I step into the flow with nature and the rhythm around me, instead of constantly feeling like we are swimming or battling upstream, but we are actually swimming and moving down with the stream in the flow and actually enjoying life. And I find that when I start practicing these 9 habits, my days are so much more easeful. So these are my 10 habits for you. Remember, you can grab the tip sheet in the descriptions below. If you're like, Nina, these 10 habits are cool, great. I am just struggling with actually implementing them on a regular basis, I have got your back. You're going to want to watch my next video that is somewhere here on the screen. It's all about understanding why it is so hard to automate our habits even with our best intentions. So if that's you, you'll want to catch that video where I explain to you exactly why it is that following through with habits can seem so hard, especially in the beginning. See you soon.